changed from then to now?
What was one of your fondest memories from childhood? What did you do as a teenager? What were your favorite things to do? And what's something that you'd like to change about your generations? As well as, how do you think social media impacts the generation? So let's see what they have to say.
Okay, so what are your favorite things to do?
Well, as a college student, I definitely love to go out and hang out with my friends, but I also like staying in and just like watching Netflix. So,
Okay,
it's a
so
mix.
what are some things that you would like to change about future generations?
Well, considering I have a lot of like younger cousins and like, you know, a lot of children in my life, I definitely want to see them not be so concerned about their self-image at such a young age. They are super concerned all the time about what their friends think, and so I think just being able to like get them out of that mindset would be pretty cool. More
Okay.
positivity.
And then I'm assuming that you use social media, so how do you think that impacts the current generation?
It definitely has an impact on their self-image and how they perceive their friends and themselves, because everyone always has what's new and what's better. So, like, you know, being a 7th grader or even younger than that, like seeing what your friends have and you don't, you know, it's kind of like this unnecessary competition. And so I think it has a good impact where you can see what your friends are doing, but at the same time it's very negative in that way.
Alright, so one of our interviewees didn't want to be filmed, and so we just wrote down her questions, and so now we're going to read them. Her name is Melinda. She was 20 years old and she works at Target. For the question, what was one of your fondest memories from childhood? She said playing outside with her dog. What were some of your favorite things to do as a teenager? She said she liked to read a lot, and she also enjoys painting. Lastly, for the question, how do you think social media impacts this generation? She wrote, it makes this generation less social and more restricted towards communication. She also thinks that no one sends cards anymore, and that we should do that.
It's like my dad's camera. Is that an old camera?
I don't think so. It's not mine, it's my friend's.
Yeah. Okay, so the first question is, what were some of your favorite things to do as a teenager?
Go places with my friends, and we mostly, it was exciting to drive around the car. I grew up in Virginia near Washington, D.C., so there were always a lot of events going on. We'd go to the events and so forth, go over to friends' houses, that sort of thing.
Like concerts and stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also, what we were just wondering, what's like the biggest change in like culture that you've seen from like when you were a teenager to now?
Well, we did often watch television at night, and often with our families. So that's very different now.
Yeah.
And we had no clue about computers. I mean, they weren't anywhere near. I graduated from high school in 1965, and yeah, it's just very, very different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the last question is, how do you think social media has influenced teenagers today?
Well, I think they hear so much of it.
Yeah.
Where we really didn't hear it, and every once in a while there might be a little line of gossip in a newspaper, and that would be it. There was never anything on television really, and maybe a mention on the radio, but we didn't listen to the radio. Just music. Yeah, we were very into music.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, what was your favorite thing to do as a teenager?
Oh, that was many years ago, but my favorite thing to do was read
To read? What kind of books did you like?
mysteries at that time.
Mysteries? How do you think social media impacts younger generations?
I'm glad that I wasn't a teacher and a principal during social media. It had just started coming out when I left. I think it impacts significantly. I think it's much more difficult to teach, but on one hand it's much easier because you have so much information at your fingertips. It's just the problem of getting people to use it, students to use it appropriately.
Yeah. What is something you would like to change about newer generations?
Well, what you just talked about social media, for the holidays when I've sat down with nieces and nephews, even son-in-law, everybody's doing this instead of talking to each other. So I actually declared a no electronics
Oh, really?
lunch for Thanksgiving, and the teenagers were totally miserable. I don't know why, but that's one thing I would change, is that teenagers have more face-to-face communication and less electronic communication.
Yeah. All right. That's a great answer. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.